What's up guys, this is John from JohnKO3D Gaming. I'm here to review Lords of the Fallen, which falls under the same vein as the Dark Souls games, Battleborn, games of this nature with its tough, brutal gameplay and consequential experience. But unlike those other games, this game is very light. Lords of the Fallen very much concerns itself more with the arcade quality fun, and it complements this focus with a Diablo-style loot system that drops ever better weapons and gear from both chests and enemies. The weapons themselves are fun to use, whether it's customizable magic gauntlets for ranged combat or impressive-looking weapons with scythes and staves. It rewards you at almost every turn, whether with a chest crammed with entire gear sets or with hidden challenge portals that pop up after you defeat a boss, allowing you to fight 3 waves of enemies for promise of crammed in loot. As it turns out though, the game, it's not very story heavy. It wants to be great, but it never quite obtains with its choices and due to its cutscenes. And the final scene of the boss kind of falls over, but it has general interest that will hold you. It's a generally good looking world, don't get me wrong, although aside from the lengthy jaunt into the Rogar homeworld, it's comprised to usual crumble castles and snowy peaks, unlike the other Dark Souls games where it's kind of dungeon based, medieval based, but you get where my drift is coming from. The story follows Harkin, a gruff criminal who's pulled from bars to save a world from an interdimensional monster called the Rogar. We're never told the nature of his crimes, however, and Lords repeatedly introduces other characters with only a mockydom of characterization. Even the big bad guy behind it all only gets 3 minutes of screen time when the plot tries for a shocking twist near the end of its roughly 17-hour story mode. It's hardly anything to get involved about. And 45 minutes into my experience, I have only died once. That's a bit surprised for a game that makes no secrets of its heavy depths to ultra-punishing Dark Souls series. But the combat I experienced on the way that the first dev revealed that the game is just as concerned as letting us fun without the pain. At times, it sacrifices too much of an altar of combat accessibility, but it usually makes up with a tempting risk-reward system. You could think of it as light Souls. It's not very Dark Souls. Punishing, it's there, but it's very light on the aspect. Getting into the sword swings of things reveals a fun hack and slash combat experience that feels closer to the beat 'em up styles of the Darksiders than Dark Souls high stakes dueling. Please excuse me. You can charge up attacks for more intense, and you can minimize the energy you need to swing Harkin's hefty weapons through carefully timed combos. You're locked into one of 3 sets of 4 spells for warrior, rogue, or cleric playstyles. For the first playthrough, but I did feel a fair amount of freedom to play as Harkin, I chose. The biggest issue is that the classes are wildly overpowered when fully upgraded. I played as a warrior and early on picked up a rage of spells that boosted my damage and briefly removed need for the energy stamina requirements, thus making combat slightly easier. But at the same time, Lords of the Fallen tries to increase its challenge in indirect ways, just like Dark Souls. It makes you return to scene of your death to recover lost XP, for instance, but if ups the ante by attaching a timer to the XP pile. Too long to fight your way back and it disappears forever. Glowing gems that serve as checkpoints and potion filling stations allow you to play it safe by storing XP in them for with either magic or attributes. Or you can be more ambitious, ignore them, and build up your character to become an ultimate warrior, and then take on the severity of the boss battles. It's a good system, particularly since there's no way to adjust the difficulty. It's sad to watch Lords of the Fallen make it irrelevant in the second half of the campaign by allowing you to reach quasi-good godhood effort with a class of spells, but this is a game that I have finally played. I have heard about it, But being that it finally became free on PlayStation Plus, it was worth me looking into. I tried the Dark Souls games, and I think I went in underestimating its way of gameplay. But if you know what, if you're looking into if you want to look into those type of games, and you need to establish yourself with these type of games, I suggest you start with Lords of the Fallen. It gives you the proper building block to build the skills you need to go into games like Dark Souls, Battleborn, not Battleborn, is it Battleborn? No, not Battleborn. What the fuck was the game? The other, Bloodborne, my bad. Bloodborne. You go into games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and you will be punished for, you know, underestimating its world and underestimating its mechanics. But if you start with Lords of the Fallen, get yourself established with this type of setup, then venture off and get to the challenges. The game is great. I really do enjoy it for what it is, because when you go into this game, just set your expectations on low. Do not give it the Dark Souls game anticipation that you would give to those games. If you do, you're gonna have a bad time. But you need to go into this game with an open aspect. Practice makes perfect. Gain the strength. Become the best you can be at this game. This game is challenging, it's punishing, but I give it a 7 out of a 7.5. It's a 7.5 game for me. And until next time, guys, this is John with JohnKill 3D Gaming. I'm going to get back to playing Lords of the Fallen because I need to beat this game in its